Hey guys, hello and welcome to Naveed for Speed. This right here is the McLaren GT. This is McLaren's answer to the GT. It's a slightly different way of answering the question, because when you think of a GT car, the first car you think of is probably the Bentley Continental GT or maybe an Aston Martin DB11. This is a different way to answer the question because the engine is mid-mounted, so it's mounted behind the cabin. Usually GT cars have the engine mounted at the front, but this is a different way to answer the question. It comes in from a different side of the spectrum, where Bentleys, for example, would come in as a luxury car. They have a bit more of a dynamic feel. The McLaren GT, I forgot what it was called then for a second. The McLaren GT comes in as a supercar essentially, which gives you this sort of GT feel. If you look at the styling, for example, it's a lot more subtle, it's a lot more understated. As far as McLaren is aware, it's a lot more, quiet. It's not crazy like you get in the Super Series. From the front though, it does still look like a McLaren. You get these sort of air intakes on the side as well for cooling. The headlights are not as crazy as you would get in, for example, the 720S, but yeah, it's sort of all subtle, this sort of the bodywork. And as we come to the side now, this is an important feature, is these vents on the side. Again, the 720S does not have the vents in the side, it has double skin doors, but for the McLaren GT we've got these side vents again for cooling. And as we go towards the back of the car, the engine is mounted, it's mid-mounted, so it's mounted behind the cabin, but it's mounted very far down, and you can definitely tell that from where the exhaust pipes are mounted. They're mounted far down as well, and that's to give you plenty of room for luggage in the back. In the back and the front, if you add up the amount of luggage that you get together, it makes about 570 litres, which is about the same as you would get in most station wagon, in most estate cars. But yeah, this is the McLaren GT. It's their way of answering the question, and we'll just have a quick look inside. So the door handles, if you come around here, the door handle is here. So you sort of push this down and then pull, and you get this sort of dihedral doors as well. When you get inside the car, I'll just move some of my stuff out of the way. Right, when you get inside the car, you've got a very comfortable leather seat, which you can move forward and backwards to suit your driving position. It does feel a little bit higher than the McLaren 720S, but again, it's a GT car. It's more for comfort, less for on the track driving. You get this beautiful steering wheel with this sort of aluminium bits inside, and these aluminium flappy paddles. Inside you get this central infotainment system, which is pretty cool as well. And yeah, there's a lot more leather in this car than sort of, for example, Alcantara. It's a lot more designed so it's geared towards that sort of GT long distance feel. But overall, I think inside it is a comfortable place to be, and it's somewhere which I can see myself being in for quite a while. But yeah, this is the McLaren GT, and we'll go out to drive it and see how it is to drive.
The McLaren GT comes with a 4-litre twin-turbo V8 engine, which produces 612 brake horsepower and 465 pound-feet of torque. And because it only weighs 1.5 tonne, 0 to 60 miles per hour comes in around 3.1 seconds. The McLaren GT starts at £163,000. After testing the car at Millbrook Proving Ground, I took it on the country roads outside the test facility.
Right, so here we are then inside the McLaren GT, and the first thing immediately that you feel is the fact that it's so composed and so refined on the road. Like I said, this car does come from a supercar. Oh, we got red light ahead. Like I said, this car does come from a supercar background essentially, but it sort of meets in the middle where it becomes a GT car, and with that, it's definitely quite refined. You notice that the steering wheel and the accelerator pedal is a lot heavier. It definitely lets you know of its presence, that the car is here, which is of course great for long journeys, particularly when you're on long stretches of motorway or the Autobahn. This car is ever present and a companion for your journey. especially when it comes to braking. The brake pedal is really quite heavy. You have to really be committed and actually put quite a bit of a brake input to actually get something out of it. This is obviously unlike the 720S or unlike the Super Series cars that McLaren does, where, you know, they're very light, they're very nimble, and they're very agile, you know, track honed machines. Where it comes to the 720S and how that is very sensitive, because it's built for the track, any sudden input into the brake or the steering wheel, etc., gives you a great amount of feedback, a great amount of output. Whereas with the McLaren GT, you have to put a bit more in, and of course this is for the comfort for you to use on the road, and it's a great car to use on the road. You always hear that V8 engine behind you. It's a 4-litre twin-turbo V8 which produces around 611 horsepower, very capable on the road, and yeah, you do get supercar performance. It's a nice place to be, very comfortable actually, considering where it comes from. The steering wheel actually is hydraulic steering wheel. Now McLaren have made it a point to stick with a hydraulic steering wheel because you get a lot more feedback, and this car is great for that sort of stuff. You can take it on a long journey, and when you get to where you need to go, if there's some windy roads, if there's some country roads, you can use it there as well. Yeah, it's another way to answer the question, and I think McLaren have done a great job in that. Inside the cabin you get you know, loads of leather. McLaren have decided to add lots of leather into this car, you know, to give it the sort of the GT feel, and to make it a bit more luxurious and a bit more comfortable. The cabin's light and airy. Above you get this sunroof, which is electrochromic sunroof, if I get that right. Electrochromic, so basically it can tint for you and block out up to 99.9% of UV light, just to give you a bit more privacy in the cabin. But yeah, it's definitely a great feature, and yeah, it definitely feels luxurious, definitely feels premium, and it's a great car to drive. I feel quite fortunate to be driving this right now, and yeah, on these country roads that we've got it on, it's nice and capable, very comfortable, and a great companion. Let's see how it is to turn around, how easy it is at least. Reverse gear, really like these gear selectors in the middle. Ooh, it's got a rear parking camera, but it's not always the easiest to see when you're turning the wheel, because of this aluminium milled billet on the steering wheel. Well, the aluminium steering wheel. It's not the easiest to see, but yeah, this is a great car, great companion, and we haven't even tried it in sport mode yet. Right, so the powertrain is currently on comfort. We'll turn it to track mode, and you definitely feel, unlike the 720S or unlike the Super Series cars of McLaren, it doesn't just want to send you off down the road. It sort of does things gradually, does things smoothly, and it's not scary. It's there for comfort, it's there for you to enjoy long drives rather than be filled with adrenaline, because at the end of the day you just want to be comfortable, and that's what this car is about. Inside the car then you get this central infotainment system as well. It's kind of like a smartphone, and it's the touch feedback is really quite good, whereas you get this sort of central button that's kind of like a smartphone, but then you can go to your navigation and your different modes of your car, and your climate control is controlled there. I'm not a huge fan of climate control in a touch screen, but it's easy to navigate with these sort of tactile buttons down here as well. So you get these buttons that can direct you to wherever you need to go, and then if you quickly need to go back to, you know, sat nav or your music, you know, it's easy from these buttons at the bottom.
In designing the GT, McLaren have created the lightest and quickest accelerating Grand Tourer ever. This is McLaren's way of doing things. It's in their DNA, dynamic and engaging, and uniquely beautiful.